Hi, this is John Doe, aka Frags with the DNB Academy, and welcome to another sound recreation video. For this one, I brought you this amazing track from Sleepnet, aka Nick from Noisia, for those who don't know, and the track is called Lapse. It came out recently on Vision, and it's amazing. So we're gonna be recreating the bass sound on this one. So let's get a preview rolling. So yeah, as you can see, it's like a really percussive bass that relies a lot on a pattern that we just wrote down here. And I just applied this EQ to the original track so we can hear what we've done better. There we go. So yeah, this is it, guys. Let's now dive into the patch and the processing itself so I can show you what we got going on, all right? All right, so starting off here with Serum, we're gonna be using a lot of harmonics for this type of bass. So I decided to go with a really cool digital wavetable, which is called FFFT at 2 seconds. It's really cool for that, and we're gonna be blending that one with analog BT Syn because both of them they will kind of blend in together pretty well. So let's just copy our MIDI down here to our new instance of Serum. Okay, so now let's start doing some movement to it because it relies a lot on percussion, right? As you can hear on the original track, there's like loads of percussion in the background that help getting this bass to sound even more stabby, if you know what I mean. Okay, so let's design our main sort of like envelope shape. Okay, so we're gonna do something just similar like this. We want to create some sort of sustain, right? So let's get this into envelope mode and let's go a bit faster, just to sort of like even go with the type of time signature that Sleepnet's using on this track. Was kind of like a dotted 8th note, right? So let's go with this and let's start assigning this to the parameters that matter, which in this case would be the level of both oscillators. And it sounds something like this. And you cannot hear much because this patch will rely a lot on doing some FM, right? So we're gonna do some FM from B and also turn on our filter, right? So we're already getting that cool pattern. And to avoid the clicks, we're gonna just add a bit of release here and turn on our filter. Assign it to both oscillators, of course, and send our main envelope. Also crank it up a bit here. Need to find like a cool spot. Maybe get this quite a bit higher, all right? Nice, nice. Now let's turn our sub and also send our shape to it, but we're not going to start on the bottom here. We're going to go like halfway through. Okay. So now that we got this important part laid down, we need to go here into the effects tab and add quite a few things, all right? First, we're going to go with a bit of chorus. We don't want to go too over the top, but we're going to add a bit of width to it, okay? So let's just go like this. And let me turn the random phase all the way down on both of these, okay? It's something that is kind of important and we missed it. So let's go back to the effects. Now add a bit of compression to it. We need to pick up this multiband, so now we'll be able to get more of these mids out. Take these highs that we don't really want them that much there, at least for now. go over the top here. It needs to be somehow controlled. Okay, now let's just add a bit of EQ to duck down some of these unwanted frequencies that we might be too aggressive sometimes, you know? Like here. It's fine. Now let's get back to it and do some final tweaks on the patch before moving on onto the processing. So we need to bring some of these harmonics out. So let's just start by playing around with the wavetable position here. You see it starts to get massive when it comes to the lower harmonics. So we need to figure out the best spot. I would say it's something like this. Be cool. Around like 15. I think that's the sweetest spot. Yeah, for sure. And now we don't want to bring too much of these highs again, but just a slightly bit more, you know. We can also take advantage of the drive here. The fat as well. Alright, so within the patch, it's pretty much done. Eventually, we're going to go back to it after adding some of these plugins that we're going to add now for the overall processing outside of Serum, right? So let's get into it. Okay, so the first thing we're going to add is going to be a wave shaper, okay? We're going to try to bring all these frequencies together by pretty much just wave shaping it without any more, I would say, aggressive distortion. So let's put this all the way up to 100% and let's start bringing this up. We should not go over the top. It's a good chance for us to open up our analyzer and check what's going on. So we got span here. Let's see how it feels like. So we're good. We're reaching like a good level here on our low end, especially on our sub frequency. So I can consider this part to be pretty much there, you know. So now let's take the next step, which would be adding some EQ to this. So we'll get a Pro Q on the mix and we'll try to fix some of the things we don't want here, right? Let's say that we can tame these frequencies a bit. We can even boost this tiny bit so the sub cuts more, you know, and stays more on top of the mix. We obviously need to get rid of this weird pick going on there. We can actually just use a bell here. Just take it off completely like this. And cut these a little bit better. It's kind of what we want now. Alright, let's move on to the next step now. If you hear on original track, you'll see that there's like a percussive element that plays beneath it. Obviously, it's not a part of the bass itself. There's like actual layers playing beneath it, quite complex layers that Nick got us used to throughout the years. But in this case, we're going to try to add our own with some parallel processing on top of this one, right? So we're gonna group these into an audio effect rack, and we're gonna create another chain. And for this chain, we're gonna use a really cool plugin called Texture by Devious Machines. As the name says, it's a texture plugin, so it can add texture to your sound. So since you're doing parallel and you don't want to have any phasing issues going on here, we're going to turn the mix all the way to 100% wet. This way, we're just going to be left with a signal triggered by this, by all this impulses that we're getting from texture. So let's get something that sounds perky, right? So we got these like gongs, percussion. So we can try to go around here, even Foley as some really cool things that we can work with. So let's start by this one, for instance. That's not a particular formula for this part. So first, let's set some of these ADSR kind of controls, right? We want this to be kind of choppy, you know. Let's work with the gates so it just doesn't have that much of a tail. Now let's browse to some of these cool sounds. Maybe the percussive ones will work better here, I guess. Like drumsticks. Let us just turn on the texture EQ so we can high pass these lower frequencies you don't want. Now we can go back to our sample here. We can tweak it, can import a sample, or can also add modulation like LFO to it, play around with the shape of it and all of that, but we're gonna keep it simple on this one and just pretty much find something that works, that adds a bit more percussion to it. Or just a layer, you know, because eventually it's gonna resolve on a perky sound. But in this case, I'm like sort of showcasing you the plugin. So let's hear this. Right, let's apply some EQ here. Turning on the linear phase, just so we can control some of this part better. Alright, sounding cool to me. Even though we need to mix these layers a bit better. So let's just get back to the initial patch and let's add a bit of a click to our sound here. So we're gonna add this envelope. We're gonna make it like fast and super short, and we're gonna apply this to the chorus here on our oscillator B. So this way we can have this like little click. It's not really affecting the pitch of it, it's just like pretty much adding that extra transients. Unless you make it like super slow. See what I mean? Now let's take a listen, and probably just before that we might end up adding the final EQ so we can fix some of the things we might end up finding it's too much. Like around here in the 500 Hertz, we can duck some of these frequencies down. Maybe tame some of these, because the original track, once again, it resolves a lot around all those perky elements that goes on the background, I mean. So yeah, let's take a listen, guys. So let me turn on this EQ on our original track, so we don't have any of these frequencies, and we can match it to the one we made. So yeah, guys, this is the final result. So, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace!
My name is Matt Zoe. I've been producing for almost 2 decades now, including quite a bit of drum and bass. I talk you through how I would produce a drum and bass track from start to finish. Making drums from scratch, a little bit of sound design, thinking about the arrangement and switching things around. Editing things, putting details into the final arrangement, and everything in between that. Hey, this is Matt Zoe, and you're watching my drum and bass production course with D&B Academy.